Most of us focus on the little s, the little self, and we're out diving into trying to find the best relationship, the best housing, the best job. We're expending our energy in these horizontal directions in our life when we should be developing techniques to grow and blossom in relationship to the greater whole. And that follows the principles of energy, whether we're looking at yoga or other cultures, like the Sushumna, the central channel, the Jid in Egyptian mysticism. The way in which we build life force, connecting to the earth, building it up through our chakra system, though that has different names in different cultures, and bridging up into the cosmos, making that connection and being a sacred channel. In Peruvian mysticism, it's called a Sami Chakwe, becoming a pure channel of light.
I remember back in the 60s and 70s, the Hare Krishnas would sing and chant. And for a long time, Zacciah, I thought there was something wrong with these people.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, the older I get, I realize they were tuned in, weren't they?
Well, they definitely have something going. And I remember very early in my time when I had a simple bag of bamboo flutes walking around the streets of a city, and they would grab me and say, come on, we're going to do kirtan. And I'd go, what's kirtan? They wanted me to play with them. They didn't know how well I could play a flute, but I had no idea at the time what kirtan was.
I bet you're good with a flute, huh?
Flute is one of my primary instruments.
That's fantastic. Now, how do we perceive something that may be part of reality?
Well, the three states of what's called the inner jewels I just spoke of from Tibetan Buddhism are amazing practices to do. And all you do is go into the heart or third eye, and you just go into a state of feeling spaciousness, stillness, or silence. And we all can do that. If we have trouble experiencing the felt sense, we can recall a time in which we felt it. Like, imagine yourself out in one of the fields here on one of the mountains during the daytime, certainly, but at night with the vast field of stars around you. And you can feel the beauty of that. And imagine that those are principles of the light of the cosmos, and you just expand out into them. So you go into a deep feeling sense of vast spaciousness, and you just rest there. The masters will tell you that just by resting in one of these three principles of stillness, silence, or space, that it creates a nest that you can rest in that is self-nourishing, self-liberating, and self-luminous. What we've discovered is that it's far more than that. First of all, if you're in open spaciousness, you can't be in stress. You can't, the two can't commingle. So physiologically, it can help us with that. But space science will tell us it's the only thing that connects all things, and the Tibetans will tell us that it's the fundamental nature of the great mother of all life from which all life springs. So just by being in space, all of this is occurring. What I found is that mystically, shamanically, that you're literally connecting through the doorway to that great mother of life, and so great potentials can come. You literally can enter into other dimensional states just by resting in vast space in the heart.
Let's take a look at our friend Greg Braden from Gaia's Missing Links as he talks about a lot of this.
Beautiful.
Fractal patterns repeat again and again on different scales. You and I already know that. You know that when you have a pattern in your life, when you have a pattern in your relationships, and you are with one person, in one job, with one company, in one city, and things aren't working well, how many times have you seen people that say, okay, I need a change? So they go to another city, they find another partner, another job, another company, but they find that the same patterns are showing up in their lives again and again and again. And they say, well, I didn't choose well, let me make another change. Another city, another job, another company, another partner. How many times do we do this before we realize that no matter where we go, the same patterns are going to show up in our lives again and again and again? Now you know the reason. The reason is because we are living fractal patterns in our biology. We're living fractal patterns in our emotions. We're living fractal patterns in our relationships because the energy of our simulation, the information of our simulation is governed by the fractal code, that fractal formula. And the beauty of knowing this is once we change that variable, once we shift the way we think, the way we solve our problems, the way we think of ourselves, once we change our self-esteem, once we change the way we value our lives or the way we value other people, that's the equivalent of changing the variable in the code. Now we're writing a new code, and the new patterns are going to repeat again and again and again. If they're healthy patterns, that's a really good thing. So I'm illustrating how our experience is actually following the code that governs the energy and the information of our entire simulation. This is a very, very powerful way to think about our lives and our world, and what we're experiencing in our virtual reality. Now that we understand the simple mechanism that allows our simulation to sustain itself, the fractal code, it makes perfect sense that we would have the inner tools to master our simulation in order to live the best lives and to create the best world possible.
He's right on.
Absolutely, beautifully
right
spoken. And he's a master teacher with great knowledge about all of this. If I could speak a moment on a practical application
Please.
about what I was just saying,
Yeah.
if we just go back to experiencing spaciousness in the heart, what we are doing is creating the state of what's known as clear view. So we're dissolving those patterns that he's talking about. We're dissolving the entangled emotions and belief systems that are not based in reality. Just resting in space, we develop a sense of clear view. And so we can see everything more clearly, including our own lives. And we can use that in practical application just by going into clear view. It helps us to make clear choices followed by clear actions. Mm-hmm. But if we have a confusing state of something going on in our life, should I move to Chicago? What should I do with my next job? We can go into clear view through just entering spaciousness and draw that life situation in and now see it clearly and ask the question, what's my best choice here? How can I best be of service to my own higher purpose? And it's stunning that part of the wisdom of the teachings is that self-wisdom is generated through this, and you see that you hold much more wisdom than you might give yourself value for. And this allows us to truly see how to take steps in our lives that will better it.
That's interesting.
Yes.
When we realize what's happening in our lives, mm-hmm. does it make us better people?
Well, I think so, because that's our inherent nature. And, you know, we have learned as a society, and that's worldwide, to fix our attention on a very narrow sense of values, a very narrow sense of purpose, and a very narrow sense of reality. Mm-hmm. You know, reality functions at multi-levels of dimension and frequency. And if I were thinking scientifically, we're looking at a very small frequency of reality. It's not that what we see isn't real, but there's such a vast amount of reality around us that we're not paying attention to. And so, you know, it's beyond our belief because we haven't experienced it. And we've grown up in this very limited sense of belief and emotion, et cetera, and life purpose, and definition of who we are.